So we are group 47, and I would like to present to you the first part of the paper that we are writing, and it is about comparing the Netherlands with Denmark in terms of their bicycle infrastructure. So, as just a brief summary, Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands, and Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark, has been widely recognized as the bike or bicycle capitals of the world. That is due to the wide-ranging bicycle infrastructure that both countries have built in the past 30 or so years. And this Jupyter notebook here is meant to compare the two countries in terms of the raw data that we were able to find on the internet. Most of the files come from either governmental agencies or nonprofits that are somewhat related to cycling. For example, I'm not going to pronounce this word here, but this is a Danish bicycle, let's say, group. This is Open Data CBS. This is Central Bureau of Statistics, I think. And this is DBpedia, and this is fietsberad.nl. This is just a short summary about Copenhagen, but the main Jupyter notebook starts here. So we are importing some stuff over here, and this part is to get the population data of, first of all, the two countries, and then population data regarding cities and regions of the two countries. So as you can see, Copenhagen, Aarhus, Denmark, North Holland, Utrecht, Netherlands, and also that is not printed yet, but it could be, it is Hovedstaden, and I'm not going to pronounce that either. I'm very sorry. So this is, we're using the Denmark dataset of the Danish regions. And of the Danish regions, we are mostly interested in the capital city and its surrounding areas, and the second largest city and its surrounding areas, and also the entire country. So this is just a sum of these two regions and all the other regions that are not included in this final table over here. The unit of measurement in this table is person kilometer per day per region. And so this is a sum of all the kilometers that were taken by bicycle in the region of Hovedstaden in a year. And I would think this is a daily average of the year 2010, for example. So these dates range from 2010 to 2024. And it is presented in this table here, which shows that Denmark, of course, as a whole, has most of the cycle kilometers, of course, but it also shows that the capital city sees around 3 times as many bicycle kilometers per day as the second largest city in Denmark. We also have a different table here, which basically shows the different cities of these regions and the person kilometer per day. It was rather difficult to find a comprehensive table as the website did not allow us to download the entire dataset at once. So we had to choose, we can choose different views of the tables. And we also have a more comprehensive table for the person kilometers per day by municipality. So these are the cities, not the regions, but the cities. But the same thing applies, of course, that the capital city sees about 3 times as much bicycle traffic per day as the second largest city, and it follows a Pareto distribution. This is a legacy, or we could say historical data that we found on fietsberaad.nl about the Danish city-wide bicycle transport index, which basically means how likely it is that someone would use the bicycle in simple terms. And we can see a steady increase in Copenhagen and I would think, a steady decrease in Aarhus, the second largest city. And the national average also follows the second largest city's average. So that is also quite interesting. The question is this a general trend? Is it a general trend that countries with a forward planning and human centered urban design, focusing on bicycle infrastructure, have their capital cities as the main hub where most of the cycling activity happens? In order for us to evaluate that question, we have to look at another example, namely the Netherlands, which is the bicycle capital of the world, according to many people. So we also have a different table that was downloaded from the Central Bureau of Statistics, and this is the mobility per trip CSV, which when displayed here shows the period between 2018 and 2023, and it is segregated into 3 columns: the entire Netherlands, Utrecht, and North Holland. And so this is the average distance traveled per trip by region. As you can see, this unit of measurement is much different than the previous one, which is person kilometer per region. And so it was rather difficult to reconcile the two tables into one single table. And in order for us to do that, we have to calculate the number of daily person kilometers for the Netherlands. Though this is not directly available from any governmental website, a notable starting point is this piece of information. In 2022, the Dutch rode their bicycles 4.8 billion times, clocking up a total of 18.2 billion kilometers. This amounts to 3 kilometers of cycling per person per day. So this is the important part here. We have to find the right parameters so that the bar data concerning the average distance per trip can be turned into person kilometer per day. And so we take the person per kilometer 2022, which is 3 kilometers, and then we take the distance per trip 2022, and it turns out that by doing the calculation that is defined here, it comes down to 0.74 kilometers per person per day. And so, following some other calculations, we can see that the same is true for the Netherlands, mostly. That, of course, the entire country sees the most, because this is a combined value, but that North Holland sees much more person kilometer per day as the Utrecht gemeente. This is not 3 times as much, maybe 10 times as much, but the general trend also applies. And so in order for us to see them side by side, we had to do some other calculations here. And the thing that we are looking at here, person kilometer per day by region, it shows us a rather weird table. And it shows that the person kilometer per day on a bicycle comes down to about 5 times 10 to the power of 7. So that would be 5 million kilometers per day by region. And this is a yearly sum. But how is it that the Netherlands sees almost, well, 7 times as much bicycle traffic as the entirety of Denmark? Well, right. So if we're talking about the entire country, sure, but we should also take into account that the Netherlands consists of around 20 million people, whereas the entirety of Denmark only consists of 5 million people. So when we adjust the table so that it does not account for the differences of the population sizes, we see that this table here, this table represents a population adjusted person kilometer per day by region yearly sum. And the main takeaway of this graph here is that the Netherlands person kilometer per day country average is almost the same for Utrecht as it is for the Amsterdam region. And that cannot be said about Denmark, as in Denmark, the country average is more so represented by the second largest region's data, the Midtjylland, and Hovedstaden proudly rises above the country average. So this table here is the end result of the data set that we were looking at, and it shows that in Copenhagen there is an outstanding amount of cyclists when compared to the country average. And it also shows that in fact there is a decline in the usage of bicycles in the second largest city, and in Copenhagen it is more hovering around at the same value.